North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. The west side, raise it up. 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 91. Bésame. Bésame mucho. You want to go?
We are starting.
Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Trey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm thinking about that because this is all bubbles. Yeah, 91. This is what we're doing. I don't know if you guys know, whenever we do the 13th episode of the year, it's way more laxed. So I'm just bothering on that at this point. No, Cam, Killer Cam, our man, he asked me a question during light work as we were getting ready. And I told him I would answer on the pod, but I should have said more specifically episode 13 of 2025. He said, Wyann, what level is your cup filled to? And what is your threshold? He posed this to all of us in light work, but I told him I would answer here. In the current you, present you, right now, how are you? At what height is your cup filled to? And what can we do to raise the level of the cup's occupancy? What do we need to do, not do, and do more of to make sure our cups are completely full? Cam, my cup is filled, thankfully. And it's filled with the current and present me, thankfully. Right now, how am I? Thankfully, well, really well, resolved and well, secure and well. At what height is my cup filled to the brim? Actually spilling over. That's the only reason I'm doing the pod tonight, because when my cup is solo, only filled, is solamente filled, then I have just enough for me. There's been days when we were supposed to do the pod and I'm like, I don't have it. I don't have it. And it wasn't even those days where I felt like I was 70%, 60%. I might have been 99. If I didn't have that other percent, I wasn't full. And if I'm not full, I'm not overflowing. And I can't give others what I need inside of me. Right? So I'm filled to the brim and overflowing. What can we do to raise the level of a cup's occupancy? Listen to this podcast. Journal every day. Listen to the Brene Browns, the Christina Neffs, the Ingrid Fattel Lees, the Mel Robbins, the folks that are pouring into you, right? I mean, y'all know my favorite pod to do is Raise It Up Why. My favorite pod to listen to is Joe Budden's. And I listen to Joe Budden's pod because it's my reprieve. That's when my brain gets to turn off, right? And I just get to be entertained. So back when Melissa Ford was one of the co-hosts, and I asked a question at the top of 2024, and I had folks hit me like, oh, way to want to take her space, and you want to take her spot. In my head, I was like, you're clearly projecting, because I love that I have a place that I'm not at work. There's so much I do where I'm on. So when I can join someone else's light work, when I can be a part of someone else's love culture, whatever that looks like, I'm running to those. But what the fuck? Why do you think I go to the gym so much? I don't got to hold conversation. I don't have to be the leader. So, sometimes even in relationship for the what some call the alpha woman or a strong woman or something like that, I don't think any of us want to overpower a man. I think we all want that off switch. I think we desire that. And we all possess this capability of being nice and soft and ready to be loved on. I don't think everybody gets the privilege of seeing that side of me, but it's true. For sure. What do we need to do, not to do, and do more of to make sure our cups are completely full? What do we need to do? Slow down. What do you need not to do? Workaholic or perfectionism yourself to death. I don't care how many tasks you can complete in a day. I don't care how much you can get done. I don't care how many accolades. I don't care how much money. I don't care. The answer is, what do you need not to do? Mistake your worth for things. We'll go get into that in just a second. What do you need to do more of to make sure your cups are completely full? Individuate. Take care of yourself. Integrate. Integrate meaning individuate as well. But when I say integrate, when you're fragmented, you are disintegrated, right? You can do like this or something till it disintegrates. The opposite of that is to integrate. Find all of your parts. I know that we talk about this in things like shadow work. We talk about this in things like yoga. But for real, be sure to find a way to acknowledge not just you, but all the pieces of you. The part of you that is always looking for a relationship. The part of you that is always looking to avoid a relationship. The part of you that thinks men are dumb. The part of you that gravitates towards people who need you. The part of you that always shies away from the spotlight. The part of you, do you see what I'm saying? This is not specific to Cam. This is just, I'm trying to think of anything that could be the part of someone. Every time someone gives you an opportunity to be the creative that you believe that you are behind closed doors, you shy away. You make an excuse. You perfectionism yourself to death to the point of procrastination, and then you miss deadlines. And then you confirm to yourself, see, I was never good enough to do. No, you just decided that you weren't going to show up in time. Or show up. My boy Focus said something as he was learning about my ex no longer being equipped to be in relationship. He said, bro sounds scared. And if he's using his fear as his excuse, then he'll always be right. He'll always be valid because all of our feelings are valid. But you'll also always be stagnant too. You don't get one without the other. What do we need to do more of, Cam? We need to choose ourselves more. To keep our cups not just full but overflowing. We can't give without choosing ourselves. And it seems counterproductive. It's like wanting to, as a parent, put the oxygen mask on the child before yourself. Only if you pass out, it's no one else's responsibility to take care of your child. Right? So it seems counterintuitive, but the last episode 90, I choose me. Choosing oneself is immensely important. Immensely important. And as promised in episode 90, I will talk about the other reason why I chose the name I Choose Me in the final full-figured episode of the pod for 2025. Some of y'all know this has been a crazy year. Crazy year, yeah. I'm actually titling this episode, What About Your Friends Part 3? What About Your Friends Part 3? I've done episodes on adult friendship twice. It's the most repeated topic that I have in Raise It Up Why 7-year history. And I'm not going to discontinue that trend. Episode 91, the 13th episode of 2025, I'm calling What About Your Friends Part 3 because in each of those other episodes, I had someone in the episode with me. I need y'all to see what 2025 has privileged me with, which is self-compassion, aka friendliness towards the self, kindness and friendliness towards the self. So when I say, what about your friends part 3, I'm talking like, Wyann, if you're not treating yourself like your own friend, what the fuck does it matter that you got the homies or a dude or some homegirls or some sisters that are friendly towards you? What does it matter if others can do for you what you're not doing for yourself? You're an impaired giver. And I'm not saying that in a judgy way. I'm saying that in an honest way, because self-love looks like honesty, radical honesty, radical acceptance and radical honesty, right? Cam, there's a chick, and by chick I mean Dr. Kristen Neff, and everyone else in Love Culture too. I'm not just talking to Cam. Dr. Kristen Neff is the is what Brene Brown is to shame and vulnerability, but to self-compassion. I'm gonna say that again. Dr. Kristen Neff is to self-compassion what Brene Brown is to shame and vulnerability. The leading researcher of the topic, right? What Joy is with Ingrid Fattel Lee, the lead researcher, right? All right, cool. Self-compassion. Here was something interesting. Do you know what compassion means as you break it down? Com, C-O-M, that prefix means with. Community, you're with people. Communication, you're with others and exchanging words. And we can get compound, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know. So, passion. I thought like, desire or something that you. Passion stands for suffering. I thought it was weird. This is what the girl said. They said she know what she's talking about. Dr. Kristen Neff defines self-compassion. The word compassion means with suffering. Who are you and how are you with suffering? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking about a general kindness and friendliness towards the self when you're going through tough times, that's why What About Your Friends Part 3 is an episode with just me. Mm. It has to start here. And if it doesn't start with just me and end with just me, it means that I'm Dumbo feathering somebody in my life. I'm making them the alpha and the omega to my worthiness, to my sense of self. And that's never been the case. So there's 3 components to self-compassion. One, self-kindness versus self-judgment. I'm reading directly from her website. That's not true. I'm reading from a Google search when you ask about what is self-compassion. And this is her name gets mentioned by the Google AI, whatever the hell his name is called, Geneva or whatever the fuck. This means being warm and understanding towards yourself in instances of pain or failure rather than being harshly critical. It involves recognizing that being imperfect and making mistakes is an inevitable part of life. I remember talking to my therapist about the engagement ending and the relationship ending. And I told her I felt embarrassed. And she said, feeling embarrassed for a very common act that some relationships just don't work. Where's the shame there? I'm like, not shame, embarrassment. And then, of course, I listened to Brene Brown when she's talking about dealing with shame. And she's like, here are a few words that we like to say instead of shame that make us feel better about our shame. One, embarrassment. I was like, ain't that a bitch? So some of this stuff is inevitable. Things that go up come down. Sometimes things don't work. Those are inevitable things. To feel shame about them is somewhere that you just need to explore and have some self-compassion, right? Right. Second component after self-kindness versus self-judgment, second component to self-compassion is common humanity versus isolation. That study about the men, they were talking about how the isolation and being in your basement, joining a red pill community or whatever. This component involves recognizing that suffering and personal shortcomings are part of a shared human experience rather than feeling isolated or like that it's only me having the difficult time. Connecting to humanity connects you to other people and helps prevent feelings of shame or alienation. That's, I guess, what she was talking about, but relationships fail all the time. Things get called off all the time. So what would be so shaming about that? It's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So, and from the work I've done, it's like if you learn something preventatively and don't go all the way with something, now you have to start to undo and retract and all that stuff. You saved yourself a boatload of grief and problems, possible problems later on. You know what I'm saying? So the third component after self-kindness versus self-judgment, common humanity versus isolation, is mindfulness versus over-identification. When it comes to self-compassion, mindfulness involves taking a balanced approach to your negative emotions. It means observing your thoughts and feelings as they are without suppressing them or getting swept away by them. And how you can get swept away by your emotions is ruminating or over-identifying. So some people will, I am broken. No, you feel broken. You are you. And that's literally, I think that's one of the Wyann's words of wisdom from last year or something like that, because it came up in Love Culture. I do remember that. But no, you feel what you feel. Defining yourself by that, over-identifying with that, is not kind to yourself, and it is not an act of self-compassion. So what do we need to do more of in order to be friendly to ourselves? Cam, we got to choose ourselves. The bigger reason that I named the episode I Choose Me, at the top of the year when I discovered things were not going to work, not with the way things were. For those of you that don't know, so I'm talking like I'm just talking to Love Culture. My bad. I'm talking like I'm just talking to Love Culture. yeah, I spelled it out in the last episode. And the reason I'm radically honest with my truth and I share my truth about the almost 10-year relationship that I was in that failed, long story short, the it just failed. It's deeper than, it's not deeper than that. It failed. It just didn't work. For whatever reasons it didn't work. As things were falling apart and disintegrating, there was a point when Amber from Moonchild, she came over here to my house. We were going out to a place. And what I couldn't have known is the place that she took me to. We were going to see D Smoke's wife, I'm Cherie on Instagram, perform for her EP that she was releasing. She's an amazing violinist and all that stuff. And so Smoke and Davion and all these people were there. I got to see all the homies. But I looked around at this place, and I didn't even tell Amber this. She might be finding this out right now. In 2019, that exact same venue is a place where I had to confront. I ended up confronting a chick that my ex was fucking up on me with. Like, and I'm, as this engagement to the same man is falling apart, the night that I'm kind of like, oh my God, all the bricks are kind of falling on my head, I go back to this space, this place, and I'm looking around like, I feel like I've been here before. And by time I'm looking around and we're getting ready to leave, I said, oh shit, this is where another one of his infidelity, situations had popped up. And I was just like, I'm not going to keep holding this thing. If it's disintegrating, let it. Mel Robbins' book, let them. If someone chooses not to love you, let them. And then you got to let yourself empower yourself and do whatever you need to do as a result. So I'm in the car with her. We're traveling back down the 110 and right around USC, funnily enough, where she attended and I now teach. I said, I think my engagement is over. And I just burst out into tears. And she's driving, so she's like, whoa, wait. And like, just being the motherly spirit that she is. And I said, I feel like I'm dying on the vine. Like it's still connected, but it's not getting any energy anymore. So I feel like I'm dying on the vine. She said, it sounds like it's time to pick yourself. I said, this motherfucker's a songwriter. I know what she is. She's a fucking songwriter is what she is. But no, truly though, she said, it sounds like it's time to pick yourself. I don't know if you've ever had like the real grapes, not the ones like in the store, but like going to like an actual vineyard or something like that, and where there's actual grapes and like there's very, very small ones and stuff like that. And then like you'll get these green ones and stuff. They're beautiful. They're nice and sour. Woo, I love them. But sometimes you'll get the grapes that are still on the vine. But in that green, there might be like a little small brown spot that kind of indicates, okay, if you don't eat this one right now, you're going to come back in a few days and it's going to be gone. That was the image that came in my head when she said, it sounds like it's time for you to pick yourself. Like you still have life in you. But if you wait too long, this is going to take you out, girl. Get out of there. Choose you. And so the I Choose Me title of episode 90 was a double entendre about Wyann really choosing herself and having to really radically accept what life was showing me was the truth. Self-love is truth, man. And just in case you needed practical things, I did my journal earlier today, or yesterday rather. What does choosing me look like? Slowing down, being present, recognizing I'm worthy of my time, staying on my own team, eradicating self-abandonment. No more self-abandonment. Love does not equal self-erasure. I'm going to say that again for anybody in the back who, like Wyann, may not have really understood this some time ago. Love does not equal self-erasure. If you have to deny parts of you, how loud you are, how vibrant you are, how soft you are, if someone needs you to be strong for them and all that shit, that's not love. That's some form of a dependence. It's like, I need you to show up like this for you to be worthy of my love. Respect. I don't think I want that love, respectfully. Keeping my word to myself builds self-trust, and it builds self-intimacy. I have to know the price of my yes. When I say yes to something, I have to know everything I'm giving up or gaining to say yes. When you understand the cost of your yes, you will more easily give out no's. Being in my body and living from my shoulders down. Cam, you asked, what do you not need to do to have your cup filled and overflowing? Workaholic, whether it's a mental workaholic, a doing workaholic, hustling for your worth is workaholism as well. As Dr. Brene Brown talks about in Dare to Lead. I'm over all that shit, respectfully. Slowing down is being able to live in your body. Slowing down, being mindful. You don't work out? Fine. Meditate. That's you slowing down and being with self and witnessing your thoughts for 30 seconds, for 90 seconds, whatever it is. Again, how do you build that self-trust? You show yourself that you can be with yourself and not anxiously start moving into other things, or, man, this is a waste of time because I'm not doing. And whatever you put on the other side of that is what you're making your God. And God did not ask you to do that. God is in you beneath your shoulders. Just so you know, if your body is your temple, all you, my wonderful Christians that like to, my Islamic folks that look at the body, all of that, yeah, then treat your body like such. If you're only going to the masjid, or if you're only going to church or the cathedral or the synagogue, if you're only going there and you're treating that like a temple, but you treat yourself and your body like shit, miss me with the bullshit, respectfully. Don't tell me about the speck in my eye and miss the plank in yours, respectfully. That's in the Bible, by the way. Acknowledging my values with each decision. From Dr. Zeb to Heidi Priebe on Instagram to almost anyone, Mel Robbins, Brene Brown, anyone I hear talk about being authentic with yourself, being good to yourself, being true to yourself, choosing yourself, they talk about acknowledging your values. And the ones that I just jotted down were things like dignity, integrity, discipline, compassion, and devotion. And because of doing those things, I live in alignment. That's choosing me. I live in my own alignment. Secure attaching is living as I choose myself. Self-awareness, self-sufficiency, being honest. Honest. If something isn't working, it's not working. I love having faith. Faith without works is dead, though. The work is going to therapy. The work is looking honestly at something. The work is having the tough conversation. All that faith shit, miss me. Miss me if you're not going to do the work with it, because it means it's dead, bro. Honesty, reality checking, and testing. Accountability is a part of the work. Acknowledge who you attract and who you entertain. A healed person, if Isaac Newton is still that nigga, and he is, where physics is concerned, every action has an equal and an opposite reaction. Therefore, every healed person is going to attract other healed but also wounded people. All right, so boom. If you're attracting those two populations, the question is, who are you entertaining most consistently? If you're most consistently entertaining the wounded people, the question now is why. Sometimes your life isn't a product of what you've attracted. It's what you decided to entertain within that attraction that needs to be acknowledged, right? Which is all part of self-awareness. This is What About Your Friends Part 3. If you're not being a friend to you, I could see you not being a good friend to me or anyone else, you know? And I want, as this year culminates and as we are baking in and basking and getting ready for 2026, if there's a desire, if there's a vision that I want for you, it's to be able to take yourself seriously as you expect other people to take you. To slow down, and to be intentional about your next move. Consult God more often. However you worship, whatever you call the deity of God, universe, great spirit, however you look at it. Consult universal wisdom more often. And because that's always going to play itself out in a small, still voice, a set of angel numbers, a sign when a wind blows or a butterfly happens to cross your path, it's going to be in those small, still, quiet ways. If you're asking for that sense of leadership, that it's going to come to you. You have to be aligned, be in tuned, be attuned, and be ready. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So the new year is going to be a lot more of that. And I am proud to say that I survived 25. Hello. Thank y'all for rocking with me for 7 years. Me, Onat, everybody here at 13 Presents. Thank you. Thank you for your non-refundable time and energy. Thank you for every piece of merch you've purchased. There's a new merch run that I don't know if you guys will have access to because it's really only available right now to the Love subscribers because it's a very limited run, but it's a really cute one. Hello. Yeah, I hope that you all got everything you needed out of this year and shed everything you didn't need. And let's get to the work. 2026 is upon us. So much love and respect to each of you. Continue to stay real.